everybody. Welcome to another episode of Music Mondays with Brian Och. That's right. This is the show where we talk about music photography in all its forms. We're going to go on the tours, behind the scenes, the portraits, everything we can think of that has to do with music photography. We're going to talk about it here. So without further ado, let's get to this week's photo. This, of course, is U2. And that is U2 standing in front of some Greek temple, it appears. But actually, in reality, that can only mean one thing. That is U2 standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial. And as we all know, that means this is at the concert for Obama. That's right. We're going back to January 18th, 2009. This is the concert for Obama, which was a concert that was put on the day before he was inaugurated. So it's part of the official events. And this was broadcast by HBO. And basically it was a who's who of music. We have U2, there was Beyonce, there was the boss, Bruce Springsteen himself, and a bunch of other people and celebrities were there. And it was a very cool party and it was very exciting. I was lucky enough to be asked by the great music photographer Kevin Mazur to be one of the two house photographers for the concert for HBO. So that's what I did. I was backstage in the green room. I was out front shooting the concert. I was doing everything that day in the cold, I might add. It was completely freezing that day, but we made do. So anyway, this camera I used was a Canon 1D Mark III. And if you've seen any other episodes or you've seen the other show, Behind the Shot, then you know that the 1D Mark III, while being a pro camera, was not my favorite camera in the world. It was completely terrible in the fact that it wouldn't focus. Even though it told you it was focused, your pictures came out blurry. And that was a known issue, and there's a lawsuit and all that stuff. Anyway, obviously they've fixed it in subsequent cameras. The 1D Mark IV was amazing compared to the 1D Mark III. Anyway, that's what I was shooting with that day, the 1D Mark III. And I was in the green room, and U2 was there, and they were talking to Steve Carell, and they were hanging out, and it was very cool. Jamie Foxx, I think, was there. And then their publicist said, okay, it's time to go. It's time to perform. So I think they did 2 or 3 songs. And basically, you're walking from the green room to the stage, which was a very long way. It was completely like on the other side, and a lot of people were like, not late, but they were running late. So when they were walking to go on to the show, there wasn't much chance to do anything with them, because they're like walking like quickly to get up on stage. And I walked ahead of them. Actually, I ran ahead of them in the mud to try to get ahead and look for a place where I could do a portrait, because this is an iconic moment. And when they got near this spot, I said, hey, I'm Brian, I'm working with Kevin. And he goes, oh, he's working with Kevin. He's working with Kevin. I don't know why I'm doing an English accent, because they're Irish, of course. But anyway, they were like, he's working with Kevin. And I said, yes, could we do a quick portrait right here? And he goes, well, we're trying to get on stage, mate, And I was like, yes, look behind you. And they turned around. And, of course, they saw the Lincoln Memorial. And there's like the color guard is standing there, getting ready to go on stage. And they knew, they could see this is important. So without saying anything, they all posed. I got 4 frames. And then I said, break a leg, have a good show. They went off and performed. And it was great. And all I could think of the whole time was, I hope one of these is in focus. I mean, seriously, it's all I was thinking. I was like, I didn't even have time to check, but I was like, it better be in focus. Please, camera gods, give me this one thing. Anyway, turns out one of the 4 frames was in focus. I can't make that up. The other 3 were identical to this. They are not in focus, but it doesn't matter, because as we know, it only takes 1. So as I said, it was a Canon 1D Mark III. This was shot with a 24-105 f4L at the time. I shot it at 24 millimeters, so it was all the way zoomed out. It's ISO 640. Again, it was overcast. 1/100th at f7.1. Again, 7.1 because I'm just trying to make sure that camera's in focus. I shot it stop down a lot back then. It didn't really seem to have any effect. Anyway, this was shot with a flash. It was on manual at 1/16th power. And if you have a flash and you do portraits with a flash, or you use a flash for events and stuff, if you use it on TTL or ETTL, you might want to try using it on manual. As a matter of fact, I would say you should be using it on manual. Two things. It'll recycle much faster. You know, if you're only using it at an 8th power or a 16th, it's going to recycle like this really quick, even on just AA batteries. If you have it on TTL, it really takes a long time, and then you get the, you know, and your client is waiting for you to take another picture, and you're like doing the one finger sign. Don't do that. Shoot it on manual. It also, number two, it gives you a lot more control with your light. You want just a little fill, you know, just dial in a 16th or a 32nd, and you can make it look like natural sunlight. You can put it on a cord and use it off cord, you know, off camera. So really get to know your flash. I'm going to do a couple upcoming episodes on flash photography, so make sure to watch those. But anyway, this is U2. This is in 2009. It was an iconic moment, and it's interesting because of what I always say. It's content meets context, right? So any photo of U2 as a group, it's probably good, right? The content, it's good. It's U2. They're one of the most successful, best bands in the last 40 years, easily. But context, this is U2 where? Well, it's in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and it's at the Obama inauguration, which was a historical moment. It was the first black president that we ever had, and they played the concert. So it's content meets context. So anytime you're shooting a concert, or basically anything, try to think of that. Content meets context. And you might want to check out my PIX 2015 keynote speech, which is called Getting the Right Shot. And it talks a lot about content and context. You can find that on YouTube. Just Google it. And again, thank you for watching, and leave your comments or your questions. And if there's any band or celebrity that you want to see, let me know, and I'll see what I have in my archive. Also, if there are any techniques that you're interested in or you want more information on, just leave a comment and I'll try to respond. Okay, thanks a lot. See you next time.